Hi everyone, so I am back. I just have been recovering from my surgery. I have a condition called endometriosis, and I had the surgery about, I think 2 weeks ago now, it's been like about a week and a half, I think. Um, I will end up making a video about endometriosis and what it is, as it's not very talked about too much, and especially it's not talked about in the medical field a lot either. But that's not the point of today's video. I just wanted to update y'all on my surgery recovery and like how I'm doing and how I'm able to like actually make content for y'all. But anyway, to get more further into this video, I would like to introduce myself. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sarah, or otherwise known as Sarah Writes Poetry 23, and I am a literary channel here on YouTube. I have a bachelor's degree in creative writing, so a bachelor's of arts in creative writing, and I graduated in 2024. So I am using my content knowledge from my creative writing degree to bring you new insights into different book recommendations and different literary discussions about classic literature, about modern literature, things that are being written now. I'm also someone who likes to talk about pop culture a lot as well, and I kind of like to mix pop culture and literary elements and poetry all together, so I think that's really fun. I also will drop random 2 a.m. thoughts sometimes when in my YouTube shorts, so keep an eye out for those. I also will do some Emily Dickinson rants because she's my favorite poet, and no, it's not because of Taylor Swift. I actually discovered Emily Dickinson in college during my degree, and that's kind of how I became obsessed with her. I will probably end up doing a video on that as well. But again, that's pretty much what I do on this channel. I will also sometimes talk about world events as they occur through a literary lens, and sometimes political issues if they are big enough that I would like to talk about it, being important enough. I'm trying my best to make the space apolitical, but there will be videos that are political if they are important enough to be included, and if I think they're important enough to be included. So, and I will try my best to, even though I am more conservative leaning, I will admit that, I will make my statements as best I can from an unbiased perspective. I think looking at all angles and facts and things like that are super important in this day and age, and so there's that. But anyways, regarding the political and news, world-breaking news section, that is what today's video is going to be about. Today, we have learned that, sadly, Jane Goodall has passed away. Jane Goodall, she passed away today at 91 years old, so she did live a very long life and fulfilling life. I am deeply saddened by this, and I am just shocked that her death was like so quick like this. Like, it just happened. Like, the Charlie thing just happened like a few weeks ago, and then the Democratic lawmaker happened weeks before that, and now another influential figure has just passed, Jane Goodall. So it just feels like there's so much death like everywhere, and it really breaks my heart. But I think these things are important to talk about, especially Jane Goodall, because she is a little bit more removed from the political angles of things. I think she is important to talk about because she was so monumental. So I mainly wanted to make this video to honor her life and her accomplishments and celebrate how far her work has gotten us in today's society. And for those of you who do not know, Jane Goodall was a primatologist, which is someone who studies monkeys, apes, chimpanzees, humans, and mammals like that. She has created a legacy through her primatology, and she was also a conservationist who protects wildlife and protects habitats, not habits, my bad, and fighting to protect species like who are dying off. Jane was born on April 3rd, 1934, and she passed away today on October 1st, 2025. And that is a pretty long life to live, and I am thankful for her accomplishments that she has made in today's society. As women in the sciences particularly have been historically underrepresented. That is a historical fact. So just like women in science, women in the literary world who were writers and poets were also historically underrepresented. I think a good example of this is Mary Shelley, who is one of my favorite classic authors. She wrote Frankenstein, and back in her day, she was very much dismissed, and she was just not championed like her husband was. Her husband, Percy Shelley, I believe, was also a writer, and she basically did not get the credit for what she did, and she did more than Frankenstein too, which people forget about. So I might make a whole video on Mary Shelley, just because her life was so interesting as well. But today, thankfully, we have, in all fields, it is growing, in my opinion, substantially, where women are being empowered to make these discoveries and make impacts on our society. And that is what Jane Goodall did with chimpanzees. I think it is important to say this. Jane Goodall, she did not just, study chimpanzees. She, lived with them. She was by them her whole life. So, through that, she showed us that chimpanzees and humans are more alike than we thought. Especially through the way both mammals think, the way we feel, connect with each other, and the way we even mourn, for example, which I think is very interesting. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on that myself. She reminds us that chimpanzees, like humans, share these traits, just like other creatures probably do as well. And so that means that these traits of emotional intelligence and empathy and personality, these are not uniquely human, and these are, I'd say, just a life story of Earth, in my opinion. Jane Goodall is someone who we should admire. She is someone we should look up to. She is a good role model for women in science, women in the literary world, women everywhere. She is the best role model I could probably think of right now. She, just for even her curiosity and her compassion and dedication to the work that she did as a conservationist and a primatologist. Her discoveries belong in classrooms and universities everywhere. In libraries too. I am actually studying right now to be a librarian. I want to be a public librarian, and I'm going to do my best to even showcase Jane Goodall and the work that she did once I finally get the job that I want as a librarian. Because I think that young kids would love to look up to someone like Jane. And National Geographic, a very credible source actually, recently published an article about her life. I read through it. It's very interesting. And they even show like photos of her observing chimpanzees and how she spent time with them and other people she worked with as well. And this article was written by Kathy Newman. Kathy Newman, my bad. Oh my gosh. And this was published today on October 1st, 2025. I will try my best to link it in the description. Hopefully it works. And another note I would like to have as I'm closing off this video is that while we do celebrate Jane, I think it's also important that we not put everyone in her position on a pedestal. So, like, influential figures like her are human, just like us. And they're just doing their best to live their lives and have their lives be fulfilling and to make a difference. And I think that's what most of us are trying to do. I mean, we have a few bad apples, let's be honest. There's a few bad apples. But I think most of us are trying to do just that. But, again, we should not put people on pedestals. We should not idolize them like that. We should admire them, and we should look up to them for being a role model. So, there's that. Before I go, I do want to share a poem that I wrote for her as a tribute. I am a little nervous to share this one as it's very rawly written and it's not edited, but I thought it was important to share anyway. So my poem is, Jane, you were and are the shining star of our world today. A light so bright our eyes nearly go blind. Your warmth and bonds with chimpanzees will never be forgotten, and they will forever be remembered. And there we have it. Thank you so much for listening to this video. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a like, subscribe, as I will have more videos soon on many different topics, so I'm sure you might find something you might like. But yeah, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. And yeah, have a good one. Bye, guys.